Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Conor.
And I'm Rangru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we're going to get to it very quickly today. We're back to Season 6 play over here in SD2 League. Today we're on Hirashasha, and you can see we already have action going. So Rang, who do we have and what are they bringing to that fray?
On left hand side in the blue, we have a Chickendew playing 20th Panzer with a balanced income. Right hand side in the red, we have Mr. Yabo playing his third VDV, also with a balanced income. And things are getting hot and heavy in this Division 3 match because we're seeing napalm bombers hitting the road. And is this War Game Airland Battle? I don't know, because this is a cheesy strategy, but it's going to unload one Panzer Grenadier.
It certainly is, and I can't help but imagine that we're going to see maybe some light strafing going on here. Oh no, a super early flak 88 here. Ooh, that's surprising.
Yeah, I think he probably brought it up more for the anti-tank role, I'm going to guess, but probably good that he has it on the field to stop his PE2 from seeing all of his maneuvers. And as you've seen with the napalm bombs being dropped, Yabo is getting into that town with his descent Nikis, descending into it, so to speak.
They certainly seem to be doing it, that's for sure. Actually, Rang, I'm surprised you had time to cast this week, what with you being a big star and all that now of meme videos.
Oh, yeah. Indeed, you know, I make time for my luxurious acting career to head back to casting.
Well, folks, if you don't know what we're talking about right now, you should check out a video. I think it's over on the Reddit channel, if nothing else. SMG woes. You know, your
Based off
favorite
true
Canadian.
events.
I'll just say this favorite Canadian, and it does make a lovely appearance. So super fun. You should check it out. But the concentration of just like I think an entire card of maxims have been brought in already. He's got 12 potential maxims in A, and I think he has an entire card's worth in his opening moves. He
Yeah,
does not want to lose this.
his infantry deployment is very interesting, because with the Desert Need keys, they're just SMG spam, they're pretty good SMG spam, but you have no real long range, especially in his A phase, so he's relying on spamming maxims to be the long range fire support, and with the high veterancy of the commander, they're going to be pretty damn good. But here we are seeing the Panzers finally making it to the front line, and wow, there's not a whole lot of anti-tank here from Yabo. Yo, anti-tank grenades are more than plenty.
And it seems such a shame to lose a P3, even just a P3 to that, because that's a nice infantry support that you definitely need. I mean, one thing that you guys, I'm sure you both saw as we got underway here, 97 infantry to 70. So a 30% shift in infantry overall, and I mean, the later this game goes, the worse it's going to, of course, be for Chickendew. So you got to be out there and have some nice, strong, kind of supportive play, and you can't be throwing away your MBTs like that.
Yeah, and Chickendew's in a pretty bad spot. I'd argue he'd have the worst side of the map, because once you get kicked out the centre part of the town, it's harder, I'd say, from Chickendew's side, from get a foothold back into it. I mean, he is going to be bringing the Osttruppen from the rest into the east here to provide some fire support, but, I mean, it's going to be hard. He needs artillery, he needs more tanks to blow up infantry. I mean, that's one of his advantages with 20th Panzer. Got a lot of tanks, especially compared to 3rd VDV, which is really just T-34 76 spam and not a whole lot else. And even then, it's not a huge amount of T-34 76 spam.
Interestingly enough, we are seeing some light anti-tank guns being brought into the town. You see the M42 right now, that 45 mil. It's already engaging, being very successful because the P3L might even get a kill here. Not too sure if that's going to be necessarily the case. But we see a 120 mil over from the Russian side. We see a mortar track over here from the German side, and now a 109 going in after that 45 mil. Definitely what needs to happen here as well.
Yeah, just bomb it to hell and back, and yeah, it is a very dead anti-tank gun here. But I'd be curious to see how Yabo uses his artillery. I mean, Chickendew is rather clumped up in the town, yeah. Just one good off-map strike can cause some rather nasty effects. And I believe there's it might be the smoke rocket, like, Katusha strike. I'm thinking that's what it might be, actually, so that would be a very interesting play if he does call it in.
Not sure. That would be rather interesting. I definitely agree with you there. I'm equally interested to see that we see the 120 mil is looking further for the 88 more than the artillery positions on his opposing number. for me, I kind of feel like that would be my major investment. I would want to hit the artillery first, because if I can take out the artillery, I don't have to worry about losing control of that town.
To be fair, it's a mortar half strike, which will be much harder to counter battery compared to the Flak 88, as anti-aircraft guns do take more damage from ground fire.
Yeah. But the Gepard, I think, is a greater danger than the 88.
Depends.
I know this isn't gonna be Red Storm, so it's a very, very different feel for anti-air here. But regardless, I mean, the 88s are much more, I think, again, for that anti-vehicle role. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Chickendew is just kind of holed up in the corner of his town here. His panzers. He's moving up some Panzergrenadiers and Osttrooping him, but once he starts getting in close, he's going to run to SMGs, and, well, Yabo has a very good defensive line of all his Maxim guns, so anything that crosses over the open, he's going to get suppressed pretty quickly.
Certainly is probably going to be the case. We are seeing another wave of this that keeps being brought on in, and indeed, maybe a tentative push across the saddle to the north. Just the one squad moving on to the western side. It is 14-10 though, so the bleed is in favor of Yabo.
Indeed, and yeah, he just has very good control over the center, and as we usually see, the center is really the make or break for this map. You can usually push the flanks, but it is a little bit more costly to perform such a maneuver. Really only the northern flank is the rough roll one to push. And seeing this off map being brought in, I think it might be smoke, it might be just regular high explosives. I kind of forgot with third VDV, but we'll see in just a minute.
Well, judging by the way that these unload orders are from this infantry, yeah, it's smoke. He's trying to rush an entire tank killing force in there. Extremely interesting. Probably not the route I would have gone here, but when you're third VDV, you don't really have the same kind of anti-tank assets that you need to be quite that aggressive this soon.
You have to definitely be a little bit more unorthodox. Now, I'd really want to see him rushing those Destiny keys up here. He's going to take some machine gun fire, and actually a few of the Panzer IIIs do have a good line of sight over the road here, so I think this might have to be a little bit short-lived.
Well, there we go. The Gepard is also a very, very important part of this too. The autocannon is going to keep things more or less kind of under control. Yep. And there goes the push. And this is how we throw away 100 points of infantry.
Yep. A lot of cover for the Sauce Trooping to move up. And actually, yeah, Chickendew, after knocking out a push, is going to be counter-attacking with some Osttroop of his own. Going to run into a Destiny key blob.
Yeah, but these guys aren't supposed to win. They're just supposed to not lose quick enough that they can kind of put more fire on them. See, three squads pinned down, and 3 squads surrendered.
There you go. Yeah, to buy time while trooping.
Which is such a bleak existence, but you know what? I mean, hats off to them.
World War II is a pretty bleak time, I think.
Yeah, that's certainly true. The BF-109's back in play again. He's looking for the northern concentration of infantry. This will be very, very bad. Okay, he decided not to... Okay, interesting call.
He maybe just lost line of sight at the end.
I think, for me, I would much rather just use attack ground overall too, but, different strokes. Mortar's going in anyway in that position, so P-Grunt's going to shut back. Osttroop support is kind of there, vaguely, but again, this is not what you really want to be pushing and shoving into that town. Like you said, this is why you have the light vehicles, this is why you have those tanks.
And this is why you have 45mm anti-tank guns being brought in here from Yabo to try and deal with this Panzer III blob. No, definitely only on these 45. Actually, in general, these 45mm are going to be great, because it's really only Panzer IIIs and 4s he's going to be fighting. There's, of course, that one singular, very scary IS-2. But there's many ways you can cut down on IS-2.
There's just a piece of me that really, really loves seeing this kind of unique smoke barrage to kind of make sure you can bring in all those anti-tank guns.
That's a lot of Gepards.
Yeah, it's obliterated. Jeez.
That's a lot of anti-air. We are seeing a commander being brought in for Chickendew here, the 251/3. and some more infantry and MG42. So really, it's just going to be a grind for this town. That one flak 88 on one singular guy left, providing some nice fire support as well as the mortar half tracks.
P4 goes down, but I think that was a gun. The crew was killed a long time ago. So, I'm trying to think right now what third VDV can really do. I feel like this is one of those moments of seal the wall up with our dead, and pray that you last long enough. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Yabo definitely has the infantry advantage, that's for sure, but the town doesn't really come down to infantry, especially CQC infantry. It's much more suited to, like, machine gun play and, like, good light support vehicle play. And early on, Yabo had that, but he only has so many maxims. A lot of them are kind of dead now. He has the 45 mils coming in to, well, reinforce the point and getting a few pounds of free kills, but I think in terms of attrition, just with the tanks, Chickendew should have the advantage.
But don't worry, the entire Russian Air Force is moving on in right now, though, too. So the Yak-9T going to unmask the anti-air, and the IL-2s are going to come in and just obliterate the commander. Oh, no! Oh, no. I was anticipating a much more successful air attack than that.
Yeah.
Yowza.
Yeah, those Gepards are really quite nasty when you have if you have 4 Gepards put together, you essentially have, like, one flak villain.
Yeah, and you know, it actually holds on to a little bit of ammunition, too, which is the crazy thing. Of course, no kills, would be better to get a couple kills there, but regardless, quite a surprising outcome on that, I'll say that much.
Indeed, we're seeing another off-map smoke barrage here, which I don't think is going to really achieve too much. He doesn't have a counter-attack thrust force to really take advantage of this. This is really just going to provide more cover for Chickendew to actually advance up. And yeah, just looking at the town, Yabo doesn't have a whole lot left in. I mean, he has the anti-tank guns, but in terms of infantry, not much. But hey, who needs infantry when you have Su-76s, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, half a card. We're into phase B here. So income's not going to change this one here, guys. But at the same time, it is interesting to just see the way that both guys are building out their decks.
Yeah.
Soviet side looking for that late game. And outside of really that one C card of infantry, and I guess the P4s, not really a late game deck looking over here from the 20th.
Nope. Definitely more early on, but of course, just with the current meta, we are seeing balance really taking a resurgence. I do actually quite like, as we're seeing in this replay, and other just 1v1s from the league, that artillery is becoming much more important in 1v1s. I've seen replays where people setting up like long-term artillery batteries, and it's actually cool to see, that artillery tab being used not just for off-map artillery spam.
And that's definitely been something that we've long. Is it complaining? Is it belly aching? I don't know which one it's been, but I have.
We've been complaining about it for months. Yeah. I'm gonna put it blunt. Like every replay, it's like, oh guys, you could be using a mortar right now. Mortars are like the best weapons. Just saying.
Yeah, at that point, adjusting our pocket protectors and putting our glasses back up our nose. That
exactly,
whole thing right
exactly, Connor. But now we're seeing them being used, and they're working pretty damn well. I mean, his 120 mils have been suppressing quite a bit. I think he's trying to blow up the enemy commander, but not getting any lucky hits. But same with the mortar half track, it's going to be counter batterying pretty hardcore. And there we go. Jack in the box blows up the supply truck and blows up the 120mm right next to it.
The thing that's going to be interesting to me is how this is going to change when we have the Su-76 charge and Desantniki's going back in as well. Because you're looking right now, there's not a whole lot of tanks left really in this town. A lot of them have been hammered.
Yeah, this could be a pretty good counter-attack force here from Yabo. And Su-76s, especially against Trentiev, nothing to really sneeze at. They're pretty damn decent tank destroyers, all in all, especially in these close-range town fights where you just need, cheap, I say bodies, but armored vehicles to just go to the front.
You mean like capture T-34s?
Yeah. And you got quite a few of those in Trentiev Panzer, making do with what they could get.
Desantniki as well. I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see another push to kind of shove the Pioneers back out with the SVTs. especially the Su-76s right there, there's not a whole lot of resistance that's going to be possible from the German side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, Chickendew kind of lost some momentum from that initial push here, and Yabo is going to be counter-attacking. I mean, Chickendew does have some T-34s being brought in, but I think a horde of Su-76s will prove to be a rather nasty force to deal with.
Yes, but also we're going to see some small things in here like the 88, the single 88 kind of crewman who might be able to at least take one or two before he goes.
Yeah.
Ooh, and we missed it, but supply truck and the commander went. No, the commander didn't go down, but supply truck and one of the mortar tracks went down.
Oh. Oh yeah, he had it parked too close and probably killed him.
And the 88's down, but you know, we knew that was going to happen.
That wasn't even a kill, that was an execution.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? What do you think of this, play of using these Su-76s as a more kind of like, I don't want to say light cavalry, but it kind of feels like that,
Yeah, it works really well, like, during these counterattacks like this. You can kind of use them as T-34s, really, in your aggressive use of them. Yeah, you don't have a turret, but it still doesn't really matter. You don't have a machine gun, which kind of sucks, and you have worse armor, but you have pretty damn good firepower. Actually better, because you have APCR shells.
Mm-hmm.
So they perform really well. You usually get great availability of them. I'm a huge fan of Su-76's, Khan. I really do love how Steel Division portrays them. As in a lot of video games, they're terrible. They're awful. Here, they're pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you right now, apparently Papa Stalin isn't very happy, because he's sending in the German one of these to kind of come in and start spanking his own craft over here.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just like Stalin's secret life of being a pirate.
I'm trying to imagine Stalin over there with an eye patch. Maybe like the lit candles in his hair. I could see it, man. But the Su-76 is over here trying to engage another one of these 88s. And it's kind of funny. You see an anti-aircraft position, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, okay, quick, send in the tank destroyers. Not really what my first impulse would be, but hey, if it works, it works.
Indeed. We got that 188 trying to get some snipes here, but he's going to be taking some nasty fire from the Su-76s. And I think Chickendew is going to be able to clear up the initial push. Show the Flak 88 is probably going to die to his mortars. And once again, love seeing mortars actually being used in a very useful role.
Mm-hmm.
Those Flak 88s out in the open, I mean, they can get like a few good kills, but yeah, they just get battered to hell and back by some rather nasty 120mm mortar shells on top of their head, which isn't conductive to staying alive.
Yeah, but one was being conducive to staying alive, something that we cared about here.
Especially on the Eastern Front.
Exactly.
It's a pretty hard task, really, all things considering.
We talk consistently about the center being the area that we always seem to focus upon on this map. There still is a piece of me that would love to see 20th Panzer try to go and insert itself to the southern side of this town. Or heck, you know what? Even trying to push the north side of this town. If you have the tank advantage, don't play into a static defense. Even though I will be perfectly fair, I will confess, I agree, all the flags are in the middle, that's where you got to kind of attack. But sweep around, isolate, and then reduce. But, God Division being what it is, perhaps that's something that's being considered, but just not being acted upon just yet.
No, I know what you mean. Hiroshige always comes down to just a very, slow and steady grind in the town. I mean, southern flank, you just can't really ever make a push happen there. It's way too much open ground and innovation to actually move before you get killed. I mean, as we see, neither side is anti-tanks or long-range defenses here, so you can do it. Up north, though, it's actually a very good idea, from both sides, really, as you can do quite a bit of harassment if you can push on through, get one or two flags, and more importantly, use that hilltop to actually start putting down fire onto the town and the supply lines to it.
It is looking like the Soviet armor is getting spanked pretty hardcore. We haven't seen the Valentines just yet. Of course, I mean, the Valentines could have been called in an A, and they still wouldn't have gotten to the front lines before now. Um,
It would be hard for a.
yeah, but I didn't really expect to have to wait until next Valentine's Day to see the Valentine tanks show up. Regrettably, I think that would have been a better call here than to throw in all the Su-76s. I understand, your passion, your passionate kind of call to arms just a second ago. But let's be fair, the Valentines I think have a slightly better survival profile.
Yeah, and also a really, really good gun for knocking out tanks. High fire rate, great armor penetration. I mean, it can't do bugger all against infantry, of course, but whether your T-34s or Panzer IVs, the 6-pounder will take you to Pound Town.
Exactly, exactly. And you know what? For the whole infantry fight, again, that's why you had the Maxims. That's why you had the Papa Shahs. Like, you better gun parts, better pizza, Papa Shahs. Like that's how it should always work here.
Yes, that's how it should work. I wish I get like a free Papa Shah of my pizza.
Well,
I mean,
they
it
certainly
just
don't make good pizza, so.
you could have like the Papa Shah magazine on top of the pizza because it's like circular. It'd fit quite nicely.
Or maybe, just maybe, it's like you have to order 5 of them and you get a complete Papa Shah by the end of it. It's like one's like the buttstock, one's the magazine.
It's like a cereal box where you get the
Exactly.
prices. It's like, oh boy, I got a Papa Shah barrel. All I need is the stock to finish my Papa Shah. Well, ammunition not included. It's goddamn cereal brands, I swear.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, if you think about it, it'd be about as quick to get a Papa Shah as would to get a pizza. Made in 30 minutes or less. That makes perfect sense to me.
Especially to expend all the ammunition.
Yes, yes. But the Soviets are starting to fold here in the center, which is just interesting because now they're gonna make a push over here to the northern side, or at least they're bringing troops into be positioned to the northern side.
Yeah, I think he's actually gonna try a push.
And you know what? I don't know if that's because he's panicking about the current state, but I didn't realize when I was looking at this, there is nothing in this deck that isn't some brand of Desantniki.
Yep,
There isn't a single Russian squad that is not a brand of some kind of it's shocking. I hadn't realized that part until literally just now.
it is, very keen on descending onto the enemy, but not from airplanes. Only truck couldn't get the airplanes. Also, kind of suicidal to do an airplane drop onto an active enemy position. But yeah, the town fight is essentially going kind of how I predicted, where it's coming down to the tanks in the end of the day, and 20th Panzer does have that attrition when it comes to armor, and it's working pretty well now because those 2 T-34s in the crossroads are just killing everything.
Jeez. It's turning into a slaughter here. I mean, one thing that's working out well, I would argue, is that the Boy to Stalin, while it's terrifying, is placed just too far. I'll tell you what's not placed too far is the fact that there's P4s on this ridgeline on the northern side, and 2 more being brought on in. At least for the time being as well. If force 1 T-34 out, might be able to successfully engage the other one. Maybe not. Oh, good enough there to start.
Hidden, but yes, the IS-2.
And there we go. The Valentines are on the field here, folks. And I'm pretty sure it's going to turn into the Valentine is on the field instead, but
Yeah, very quickly the IS-2 out and about. In a really good position, because he can shoot out supply road. Will slow down enemy reinforcements for the time being until the IL-2 tries to kill the IS-2. There we go. That was... I wasn't expecting it to die out quickly. It may be like a few volleys, but 2, that's pretty impressive gunnery, not gonna lie.
I think it was one of those things where instead it was like, the Stalin felt bad, the IS-2 felt bad about fighting his own, former brethren, and popped a fuel tank in the back or something. Like, it's essentially committing vehicular suicide, but whatever.
Whatever.
On the other
indeed.
side, though, tanks aren't to the front just yet, and the SVTs and the Staatstroepen and P-Grunts, all those guys getting forced back by really everything in a bag of chips, so.
Yeah, but the Destiny keys want to get out in the open, just get pinned down pretty quickly from defensive German infantry. I mean, the Destiny DTs are pretty nice, as they do have 3 DT machine guns, which is pretty crazy for a 20-point unit. I mean, only 7 men, but still, that's a really, good amount of long-range firepower. But when the enemy's in buildings, it doesn't really matter too much.
You are certainly speaking the true.
Because I'm the Rangruru.
Well, Dr. Seuss aside, we are. How do you follow that?
You don't.
No,
That's the
you
magic
don't.
of it. You just question why you're here tonight with me. Casting this replay.
Exactly. More T-34s, more of these Descent Nikis with the DTs being thrown into the front, but now with more P4s, not sure that that's really the best place I want to be as an AFV in the north.
Probably not. Those Panzer IVs really have a good deadbeat on that road, and really those Panzer IVs are gonna be securing that northern flank here for Chickendew, which is great. Because he's doing fantastic in the center still. Well, actually a lot less fantastic. Yabo has managed to secure the flag on the crossroad back, but just looking at the armor displacements, there's a lot more armored vehicles on Chickendew's side than it is Yabo's.
And since he's really just got to fight against, heat and grenades, I mean, throw out a light infantry screen, you should be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing maybe if we're going to get a Wurfrahmen over here on the field. I feel like that could be the knockout punch in the center that he's been waiting for.
Oh yeah, especially with how blunted up all the Destiny keys and Valentines are. It could be really damn useful. But his 120mm mortars have fallen silent because they haven't been resupplied yet. There's a supply truck nearby, but honestly, they're probably going to have more direct issues when these T-34s and Panzer IVs break through the front line.
Mm-hmm.
At least they can drop smoke on themselves, maybe run away.
Another Thessaloniki rush over here to the southern side of this town. Desperate defenses being thrown up wherever you look. And it looked like, Hero P4 is down, so Hearth is, well, he's never going to see Hearth and home again, I can tell you that much. Looking back to the northern side, T-34's maybe trying to swing around this forest. Yeah, he's trying to make some cheeky end run here. P-Shrik's going to be very, very instrumental in perhaps stopping that.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if he does cut through that forest, or if he goes all the way around to maybe just try to hold the supply line angle. That'd honestly be, I think, a better choice, because, yeah, as we know, there's a Panzerschreck ready to say hello with an 88mm rocket.
Well, hey, and there's still a P4 that can engage. He's probably going to take one with him. Yep, he took one with him.
The Panzerschreck should probably kill one, hopefully 2 of these T-34s here for Chickendew.
Well, the Russian Air Force makes another run. Takes out a P4. And we're gonna have ourselves a delicious little furball here. Oh no, the BF-109's interesting. Oh, okay, the BF-109s are being brought in to go after that air power.
Well, IL-2 gets killed from that's not right. I think that's a bug.
Well, if it's a bug, it's certainly going to get squashed at some point. Northern side, in the meantime, T-34s are getting taken out one by one. It's just the one guy surviving and racing back for the east. And this is disastrous engagement over here for the Russian Air Force. Has there even been any German losses? I don't think there's even been any German losses on this furball. There's going to be now, but...
No, I think the Ak-9 is
not
going to get the kill, because there's a few more BF-109s in the sky. Yeah, it's a good to get out.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. Smart move. But yeah, Town is just folding here. Or the Yabo. I mean, he's got, a few more Valentines, but, there's a lot of Panzergrenadiers. They have machine guns. Destiny keys can't really engage because their SMGs have a rather short range, only 100 meters, not 150 meters, which is a bit of a shame.
Or 200 meters, or 130 meters, or 180 meters.
I'm fairly certain the site has, an option for 200 meters.
Yeah, but think about it again. 3rd VDP still has another 90 guys they can send into the fray, though, too, so.
That is true.
Now, we do have another Opal Blitz. I'm wondering if... Oh, no, wow. The Gepards actually have a surprising amount of ammunition. You're right. They are like a flak feeling without all the ammunition expenditure.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice, because you have more spread out, so when a flak filling dies, you lose 4 20mm guns, but you only lose 1 Gepard, you still have 3 of your 4 guns still up and running.
True.
Yeah.
True. A distant Nikki over here in the center, desperately trying to hold back the tide with his bare hands, and has about as much success doing that as you'd expect. Valentine, in the meantime, what's he trying to engage?
Infantry.
Yeah, that was
It's the only thing you can see.
That's what I was quite confused.
It couldn't even fit a machine gun in there. I mean, it was a very cramped tank, to be fair. I think it's a good reason why they sent it to the Russians. Russians love using cramped and small tanks.
We're not talking about the T-70 today, though, so... You know what? That will always be a tank that just absolutely blew my mind. We're going to go and give you an entire tank. We're going to put 2 guys in there.
Yes.
One guy
and
drives
like the
it, the other guy...
T60.
I'm sorry?
And like the T60.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to operate the machine gun, the radio, command the tank, and fire the main cannon, and essentially be the machine gunner. Like, good freaking luck.
Yeah, it's essentially like the French tank problem in the 40s with their one-man tank turrets. It's not a very good idea.
No.
No. But hey, the tank's really small. You could probably, like, stick it in a shed.
Sorry,
That'd be kind of a big shed, but still.
Those in the rough ramen, as well as the MG42s being thrown into the front of the Batterie Führer. Actually, I'm also laughing with the fact that the commander has basically this bodyguard unit of Gepards. Like that, they're not defending the artillery anymore. They're there to defend the commandant.
Yeah.
Rank half its privileges, apparently.
Yeah, the town fight is just completely and utterly collapsed now. Valentines are dying, and we're seeing a last-ditch effort of Maxims being slapped on in. And the mortars have fell back, but yeah.
We do have these Dushkas, these 37 mils, with 120 mil, a couple 120 mils, and yeah, this is a pain to deal with, but it's not a long-term solution.
Mm-hmm. At one Destiny key. Taking overwhelming firepower here. And then the group of Destiny key just south of the town. Last ditch effort.
Well, and they'll do fine for right now. I mean, the Gepards are coming in, though, and the second the Gepards really get linked up, it's gonna be ugly. Jeez.
And this is kind of like the problem with 3rd VDV, is that, I mean, your main troops are Destiny keys, which are fantastic in that niche role of CQC, like, firepower, because they're cheap, they're good, you know, they're great. But in Hiroshige, even though it's a big town fight, it's not about SMGs or flamethrowers or satchel charges. It's really just about machine guns due to how the town is set up, and tanks. Cheap, medium fire support tanks, that is.
Something that, bizarrely enough, the P4 performs admirably in.
Yeah, and all the Panzer Grenadiers too. It's a very good map for 20th Panzer. Most maps are. 20th Panzer is definitely top of the pops in terms of best divisions in the game.
You know, I was really hoping we could see a Verframen barrage, but he's just out of targeting range. I'd love to see him go after this mess of junk. Like, he's got to know there's artillery there. If he fires one anything, game over, man.
Especially with the supply truck. A lovely little chain reaction.
Exactly. Now, BF-109 here, not stepping into any kind of attack. I think he's got to know that that's something worth engaging, though. But, nope, don't think it's going to happen.
Mortars are actually doing a decent job of suppression Chickendew's infantry for the time being, but I don't think Chickendew is really actually worrying about moving up anymore. He's pretty happy with the territory he has secured, getting that +2 point advantage. The northern flank, I mean, the Russians are on the hill, but the Russians don't have the flag, so it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't, does it? I mean, this BF-109 behind the lines, he's going to go down here in a second. And geez, we even have these T-34s engaging this infantry to the north, but it's still 16-8. It's 16-8, and what does it matter that you're bringing in another 8 squads of infantry or 4 squads of tanks? You have to pierce this entire region. It's not going to happen.
And Chickendew has pretty much got to the tipping point of the town. Is that he pretty much kicks Yabo completely out of it, so it doesn't really come down to infantry anymore. It really comes down to a tank fight to get back into the town, and Yabo doesn't really have the tanks to do that, especially at long range against 2-star Panzer IVs.
You say that. Watch it be like death, death, death. So,
Right, this is... Okay, here we go. Someone finally dies. And a bit anti... There we go. More death. Just what I want.
I'll check down to the south in just a second. There is one maybe final throw of the dice being kind of put together. Not really sure I really see it doing anything. Yeah, the Machiki and 4 Valentines. So yeah, the Valentines are going to go there just in time for the Germans to arrive in Moscow. And the P4s, I think, are being moved up just to kind of clean up the last bit of this mess, maybe? No? No, just barely out of sight. Interesting.
There we go, Yabo taps out, and that will be a GG. Yeah, pretty nasty KD difference between Chicken and Yabo.
Yeah, not unexpected, though, too. Earlier on, I was certainly wondering how the heck Chickendew was going to move this back around. Like you said, the early days with 20th Panzer in a town fight, not what you want to be dealing with, but you have to get the concentration of forces, which we did end up getting as the game went further and further.
Yeah, Yabo, it felt like he had a few opportunities early on to, like, really secure that town and, have it completely under his control. It felt like that, I'd have to say, but he couldn't seize an opportunity. It fell down to attrition, as it usually does in Hiroshige, and like I said, 20th Panzer is just better suited for that sort of playstyle in that town fight against that division.
I'm looking just back and forth at some of the kills and the material like that. Wasn't really a whole lot of standout characters. I mean, on the German side, we did see a couple of minor heroes. Nothing really to give an iron crossover, but at the same time, still, maybe some things are moderately worthy. Cedarman over here, for example, Wolf. But all in all, a lot of just trading more efficiently. Maybe this Flak 88 standing up and taking a couple of Su-76s. I mean, not for nothing, but I feel like that failure of that push was the beginning of the end over here for our Soviet comrades.
Yeah, maybe Yabo could have pushed a bit more aggressively up north sooner to try and take some pressure away from the town, because he had a pretty good defensive line here early on, but with everything just being so focused in that town fight, all the Maxims eventually die, the T-34s eventually die, the Desaniki eventually die, and then you have nothing in the town.
Exactly.
And you lose the town, and then you lose the match, which is not ideal.
No, not usually ideal. It's usually one of those things that probably better to go and attempt to win occasionally, but I'm an old-fashioned guy like that, so who knows.
Yeah, first cast of the Season 6 of League Con, and for the viewers at home, we're planning to do much more of these and try to cover Season 6 as much as we can. It's pretty crazy. This is the 6th bloody season of this.
Yeah, it
just keeps going.
It blows my mind about how great this community is, and it's one of those things that you want to go and just be stunned, but you know what? We have one of the best communities out there, so at this point, part of me just expects it, man.
Yeah, and we've got like a lot of players for like 5 whole divisions being played through as well. This would be a pretty good season, I think. And I'm pretty happy with the meta right now, like the 1v1 meta, in even just vanilla ST2. It's still not perfect, but it's definitely improved.
Well, and that's the important thing. It's better than it used to be.
Yeah.
But to hear a little bit more about that, guys, come back over here on Thursday. Check out the other replay this week. Of course, more SD League action. But until that time, until we have more time for some more theorizing, I'm Colin Ulberg.
I'm Rangaroo. Take it easy.